I'm Kieran Slaughter, Urban Fellow for Richmond, California for the National Park Service, and I'm stationed here at Rosie the Riveter World War II National Historical Park in Richmond. The Urban Agenda is a forward-thinking, intentional approach to community engagement that 10 model cities were selected to implement. I had the opportunity, and I'm humbled by the opportunity, to be one of 10 Urban Fellows to represent the National Park Service and to represent Richmond, California on a national scale. The Urban Agenda represents a new approach for the Park Service in terms of collaboration and intentional outreach and engagement to communities that have been underrepresented either in the park workforce and park visitation. And it's a really an innovative way to highlight the programs and the parks that the National Park Service has, but also to really raise awareness of the urban national parks that are right here in your backyard. Each model city employed an Urban Fellow to collaborate with park and program leaders and partners. The fellows acted as a broker and a facilitator in the park and the city that they worked in, helping to develop and maintain partnerships between the Park Service, other agencies, city, and community organizations. Given evidence that access to parks increases one's level of physical activity, parks are an important destination that should be easily accessible to all citizens. Some of those challenges are obstacles that limit walkability and bikeability to parks, such as large roadways, interstates, and geographical barriers, such as rivers. Those are identified as major obstacles to access to parks. Many neighborhoods lack pedestrian crossings, pedestrian bridges, paved shoulders, pedestrian signals, medians, visible crosswalks, and bike lanes to allow easy access to parks and recreation.
We have a project called the Yellow Brick Road, and the Yellow Brick Road is a safe bike and walking path that snakes through the Iron Triangle neighborhood that connects churches, schools, community centers, transportation. It was a project that was conceived of by teenagers in the neighborhood in 2009 who were given a summer project to figure out something that would improve their neighborhood, and the project they came up with was brilliant, Yellow Brick Road. What they said is identify the assets of the neighborhood and then just stencil yellow bricks across the roads and across the sidewalk to connect these community assets together. And people would walk on the Yellow Brick Road, and this would be designated as a safe walking path in Richmond. So this project has been 6-7 years in the making, so now it's just thrilling to be able to connect with the National Park Service and the Wellness Trail, because the Wellness Trail builds on the work of the Yellow Brick Road and it extends it.
As an avid cyclist myself and as the chair of our Richmond Bicycle Pedestrian Advisory Committee, it's really important that we have a good infrastructure that supports us to get to our parks, and access to our Rosie the Riveter National Park from the Greenway is really important, and it's really important that we improve that so that we can connect residents that live inside the city to our really precious shoreline that exists.
The City of Richmond has a Health in All Policies ordinance, which overlays the lens of health on every project, ordinance, and initiative that it undertakes. That's why, as a result of meeting with different stakeholders and individuals and groups around the City of Richmond, we determined that the best project for the 2-year Urban Fellowship was a project called the Richmond Wellness Trail. The Richmond Wellness Trail is a health-themed trail route that runs through downtown Richmond in the Iron Triangle, through the Marina Bay community, connecting downtown Richmond, Amtrak, the BART station, Kaiser Richmond, and the Social Security building to the Richmond Greenway, which then continues on down Marina Way to the San Francisco Bay Trail, ultimately ending at Rosie the Riveter World War II National Historical Park.
It's been really great working with Kieran in many different capacities as he builds his idea for the Wellness Trail with his position as an Urban Fellow. He's been really active in the different local community groups that promote biking and walking and park development, such as the Bicycle Pedestrian Advisory Committee. He's joined in with the Recreation Commission. He's joined in with folks who are already active in the community to really learn and do a deep dive into what's been happening and what folks really want to happen. He's been helping coalesce folks and promote growth from the ground up, and it's been a really great experience working with him.
We work with lots of partners to accomplish what are ultimately community revitalization goals. One of those key partners is the National Park Service, and particularly the Urban Agenda and the Urban Fellow, Kieran Slaughter. Groundwork was involved in the selection of Kieran as the Urban Fellow for Richmond, California. Our missions really overlap in that we're trying to make the National Park Service, which is really America's heritage organization that is often credited with protecting America's greatest natural landscapes. It's also the organization that protects a lot of America's historic resources. And so communities like Richmond are often unaware that they're in possession of nationally significant resources. So through Rosie the Riveter and the National Historical Park and the National Park Service's Urban Agenda, we're helping connect new generations and new populations to the mission of the National Park Service.
In addition to the Richmond Wellness Trail vision plan, I had the opportunity to work on several other pilot projects that were the first of its kind here in Richmond, California. For example, International Parking Day was a project where we converted a public parking space to a little patch of open space just for the day. It's a form of tactical urbanism that raises awareness of open space in urban environments. The other project that I had the opportunity to work on was the Rosie the Riveter Rosie Rally, which for 2 years in a row, we set the world's record for the most people dressed up as Rosie the Riveter in one place. And as the Park Service is situated here in the city of Richmond, we see ourselves as an extension of the city in some cases, and in some instances. We really feel like we're another department because we're so embedded here in the city, and oftentimes people don't know whether they're in a state, local, federal, or regional park, and that's okay. And that's really all that matters, is that people access these open spaces, these parks, and these programs that are there for them, and that they feel welcome. And so by participating in several events around the city, regionally and nationally, it's allowed me to elevate the good work that's been going on here in Richmond and to spread the good word about the parks and programs and the amenities that we have here in Richmond, California.